Spend some money, Cardinals. That's what he's trying to say.
Is that what he's trying to say?
I don't really get that. So they went out and they got the big-ticket catcher. I mean, you could say Murphy was better. I don't know. But they spent some money, right? They spent some money.
Mm-hmm.
They had more to spend.
Yeah.
But you go out and you say payroll's going to go up, so if you're the Cardinals and you have the guy that you think will help you, like I said, I disagree with that being the number one priority, but that's how they see it, and it obviously is an upgrade. Now, because you said payroll's going up, you better go somewhere and spend it on a guy you don't necessarily think is going to help you or is a good value just because your fan base wants. I don't get that part.
Well, also, maybe they shouldn't have said that then. I mean, when you say I'm going to increase payroll, if you increase it by like $2 million, that's not even worth saying. I got to look it up to see exactly.
Yeah, you're going to get chirped for that.
Remember, there's deferred money. Wayno, a bunch is deferred. So apples to apples. Okay, you could say, oh, last year this. I don't think it's fair to characterize this team on paper as some large increase in payroll.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so now, like, look, we said we're going to increase payroll. So we just offered Corey Dickerson 1 year at $17 million. There, payroll's up. Everyone good? All right, let's have lunch.
Here's the rest, Cam. That's factor one. And number two is just because you have resources, you're not just going to spend it wildly on something that doesn't make sense. Seriously, how much of a BS statement is that? You can say things to provide encouragement without pulling the rug of hope out from under the fans to address the issues to make this damn team better. Gio.
Okay, Cam. Now, this is via Fangraphs. All right? They're pretty good at this. Estimated 2023 payroll. St. Louis Cardinals, $164 million. Estimated final 2022 payroll, $163 million. That's an increase.
What was the first one?
Of $1 million. Again,
$1 million.
There's deferred money. Remember the Arenado contract, at first, it was being paid by the Rockies. Yeah. All I'm saying is, I don't think it's fair to say we're increasing payroll if you go up $1 million or $2. To me, to even say that, to warrant saying that, you got to increase it by at least 15, 20 million.
Doubt.
Otherwise, don't even mention it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like with Mozeliak. Mozeliak, look, I know that there's people that like him, people don't like him, but he's available. He does a lot of interviews, right? And I think, like he said before, low-hanging fruit, that's come back to bite him. He probably shouldn't say that. If you don't want him to be out there doing interviews, okay, then he won't say anything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know
if you're out there talking a lot, like you could take anything from this show and make us all look like idiots. We do it in the drops, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I appreciate the fact that Mozeliak will do interviews with, any media, really.
Well, so do I. But I think, and I'm not the person that crushes him for every comment. But low-hanging fruit, that was kind of a funny comment 10, 15 years ago. But, like, again, if you're saying we are going to increase payroll, and from what we heard or was reported, that he had that meeting with Nolan Arenado, as Nolan Arenado is still at least contemplating whether he's going to opt out, and if it was said to Nolan Arenado, hey, we're going to increase this payroll, we're going to improve the team, and you don't really increase the payroll beyond $1 million or $2, I just think that's not even worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Like, if you say we're going to increase payroll, I would think the fan base and myself, just a media, whoever just watching, to me, that's significant. That's 15, 20 million bucks.
Yeah. I understand that. But if people bring up the whole Nolan Arenado thing, he met with Mo, and you're trying to extrapolate what really happened there. I know guys that know Nolan pretty well that told me he's not opting out. So he met with Mo, and it wasn't like, we need that payroll to increase $15 million. It wasn't like he was coming back. I'm sure he just met with Mo. What are the plans? What are you doing? We're probably going to get a new catcher in here. Okay, that'll help. Deal. I don't think this was like Nolan pressing Mo to see if he wanted to opt out or not. It's portrayed that way. I don't see it that way.
But you don't think Nolan Arenado sees what's going on, sees what other teams are spending? Nobody's saying the Cardinals have to be the Mets. Again, if you look at the last I looked, they were 15th in payroll. if you just spent 15 to 20 more million, then you're with teams like the Braves. You're closer to top 10 in payroll in baseball instead of middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So think about what they could have spent. Like, obviously, a Trey Turner, a Swanson. Like, I would have been happy with Turner. But I honestly think the way the Cardinals are looking at this, maybe I'm a rights holder, kill me, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Tommy Edman is going to be good and comparable with them, with anyone at shortstop. And you're going to have Donovan or Nolan Gorman at second base, and we're going to give those guys a shot. I think that's a legitimate plan. I think people that said, I would have liked to see a big-name starter, I get that. You know, I think they're one starter short. To me, the main thing they didn't get yet was a lefty bat.
Nate, what the hell are you thinking back there, partner? What are you thinking? What are you doing?
What do you mean?
What are you
am I
looking at?
doing?
What are you looking at that back there? What are you thinking about?
Ready.
Gigi? She on your mind again?
Wait, you're getting things ready for our show or your
No.
my show.
He's getting things ready. Jim, don't bother him.
Yeah.
Trump Jr.
You guys got enough. You got enough voices going on.
We need
Everybody's
your
got
voice.
high energy.
No, we like you, Nate.
Everybody's got high energy.
We
in
like
there.
you.
Yeah, I got responsibilities. It's
Yeah,
like
you
Gary
do.
Delabate. He can't be paying attention to
yes, he can.
100%
Yes,
of
he can.
everything that's going on
Yes, he
between
can.
you guys.
Fa-fa-fooey.
Yeah,
When I think of balance,
fa-fa-fooey.
I think of Nate.
Look, whoever thought that the Cardinals were going to go out and raise their payroll to like $200+ million is clearly not aware of how this team operates. Like I said yesterday, and because it's Sports Talk Radio and it's the off season, we'll repeat ourselves. But look, the Cardinals will probably add somebody going into spring training that's not the sexiest name, that could have a drastic impact on the rotation or maybe in the bullpen.
Yep.
They've got like 15,000 arms that are going to be competing for 5 spots in the rotation. They could really use a swing and miss guy in the back end of their bullpen, which I don't think they currently have. But where are they going to find that guy? I don't know.
South Korea, maybe? I don't know.
And
I'm not asking for $300 million,
Oh, I am.
$250, $225. I get it. Cardinals aren't going to do that. But if you say we're going to increase payroll, I think it's fair to expect them to bump it up at least $10 million.
Bump
And again,
it up.
the Cardinals right now, according to Fangraphs, are 15th with a projected payroll for 2023 of $164 million. Look at Atlanta. Atlanta projected at 199. Houston just won a championship, 194. Nobody's asking for 230, but if you can bump yourself up to the 180s, again, just for a year. You don't have to do it every year, but like you have to pay for a starter. You don't have any aces unless Jack Flaherty is healthy. What do you have to pay to get an ace? You got to pay that dude $25 million plus per year, whether it's Carlos Rodon all the way up to the Garrett Coles of the world. The Cardinals need an ace.
They need an ace.
In my opinion, they need an ace to really go through the playoffs and actually have a chance to win the World Series. You probably need 2 aces. Let's be real. And you have to pay for those dudes if you don't grow them yourselves. And the Cardinals have not grown an ace from their farm system in a while. That's stayed healthy.
It's Ace here. Who?
The problem is that all of this goes back to, and this is why it becomes like a broken record, but Oscar Taveras dying forced the Cardinals to dip into their plethora of pitching prospects who are now excelling and I believe finished 1-2 in the Cy Young race last season between Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen. So, like, I don't know. I mean, and they got problems. They still don't have much solidified in the outfield. But that's why you got to pack the stuff. You got to get down to Florida. You got to have some competition.
Jimmy's got to go get some answers.
Like they're a good team. But I think they are reliant on some of their young players to step up and like bring their A game to camp. Let's go, man.
Damn right.
Like they're not
Big
going to go
boy
out
now.
and spend a whole bunch of money on veterans to fix the problems. They need these young guys to come in and do something because fans can't have it both ways. You can't bitch when they trade guys who then go to other organizations and have good offensive seasons. And then you say, well, why didn't they excel here? Well, they need to excel here. So you need to get down to spring, and you need to have good competition.
Ring that dang bell.
That's why we can't have you.
I can't have you sleeping back
there. We can't have you working on your own show.
We need you.
Come on now.
But I will say,
you saw our ratings.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Right now, and I agree with that, because the Cardinals are built on what ifs right now, right? And I agree, all these guys that are in the mix have a shot of being really good players. But right now, you got too many players for those slots. So how is it?
There you go.
How is that going to shake out if you don't have enough playing time to really vet and see which of these guys are going to bring you to the next step?
Those guys, every position player, every outfielder, DH type, they're all going to get their chances, and whoever hits is going to play.
There you go.
Here's where I think, and Nate is right about this. Remember, we forget they did grow Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen, and then traded both of them away. I think also, if you look at the first half of the Mozeliak run, by the draft, Cardinals always had great pitching. Draft and develop pitching. A lot of college pitchers, a lot of guys that really worked out. If you go Michael Wacha, if you go, I know Shelby Miller didn't finish his career great, but even Carlos Martinez. Okay, the Cardinals then shifted their draft strategy, really under Randy Flores. In the last 5-6 years, they're going after high-end position players because for a while we said, why can't the Cardinals develop their own bats? Now they're doing that. Look at their picks. Back in the day, they would draft usually those college pitchers. Now they're drafting high-ceiling, high school position players. Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, Nolan Gorman go back a few years. And I think a lot of people like the prospects of all those guys being big-time contributors. But it's hard to have really good minor league pitching and really good minor league position players. And for a while there, the Cardinals couldn't grow their own position players. And now we've seen a lag on pitching. Like they don't have, I know Grisefo's up there, but they don't have those high-end, I'm talking the Alex Reyes. You can go back to Flaherty, but that's a ways back before they had a guy like that who is, we're talking #1 prospect in baseball.
Like Reyes. Talked about him for a long time.
I mean, Carlos Martinez was like that.
Yep, you're right.
This stuff was nasty.
855-282-8255. Get him in. Get him in. Let's go. Let's go. The Cardinals are notorious for having a guy at second base win the Gold Glove or be an all-star, then think he can move to another position to fill a gap. Marp had no business playing third base, and Edman probably has no business playing shortstop. Noodle arms don't play well on the left side of the diamond. Jobu.
Noodle.
But that's,
I like when they get fired up, though, man. I try to read it like you're texting it.
That's false on Edman. If you look at the numbers, Edman as a shortstop was really good.
No, I know.
I'm not saying he's not better suited as an everyday second baseman, but he was really good at shortstop as well.
Nate's licking his wounds from the spectacular TCU betting implosion. Timmy Van Gelder. That wasn't very nice.
He won last night.
He won last. He tricked all you guys.
I could even prove my.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah.
No, Nate won.
My tickets.
Listen,
I
Nate
won a
walks in
grand total of $1 last night,
That's cool,
actually,
man.
because the Flyers and Sabres didn't score 6.5 goals. Jason Tatum scored 32.
Wait, you bet on
You bet on the Flyers and the Buffalo
You might be a
Sabres.
degenerate.
Yes,
you might
I'm
be a
Timmy.
degenerate.
I
don't
worry
hide-
about him.
I don't hide from that.
I worry about him.
Jason Tatum, he scored. I had under 31.5 points. He's been playing a lot lately. Thought he might take a little bit of time off against a bad Bulls team last night.
Nope.
Scores 32. Over was 31.5.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's how it goes.
I could always tell. He doesn't
But
even
I
have
won
to tell
$1. I won $1.
me. You don't even have to
I guess
tell
I
me.
lost 24 to Charlie.
Yeah, you did. Well, you walk in here, I could look at you and be like, yeah, he's all right. Oh, no, he lost money. Yeah, I could just tell. I could just tell. Cards are projected to spend $1 million more than the Rockies. Angry old guy. The Cardinals have grown two aces, Sandy and Zach. The Cardinals grew Alcantara and Gallen. Let's see here. The narrative that the Cardinals are a small market team is tiring. They are a national brand in the top 20 market with 9 Fortune 500 companies and only an NHL team to compete with. Have the second highest concession stand prices and one of the highest TV contracts in the league. A few years ago, when they were mediocre, they were the most profitable team in baseball. I doubt they've fallen off since then. They should consistently be in the top 6 in payroll. 2-4. I'm doing pretty damn good with these things today.
All right.
You're reading words. That's good.
I'm reading
So
words.
here you go.
I
you know
read.
what? All of these keyboard warriors, they're going to have their chance this weekend at Ballpark Village. They can go down. I'm sure Bill DeWitt III will hold a little Q&A. I bet John Mozeliak will be available.
Jimmy will be down there.
I bet you can go really rattle them
Get 'em.
with your hard-hitting questions as to why the Cardinals aren't spending $300 million on players. Go do it.
Go ahead.
Go get your own answers.
Let's go.
It's possible.
Now, what happened, too, if they do spend the money on a $300 million player and then it ends up being a dead contract, which happens
Beer goes to
sometimes,
$14.
right? I mean, then all of a sudden they're idiots for putting that kind of money. Look, there's no absolute. Like, sometimes moves work out. You could be the best GM ever in baseball, and you're still going to have a resume full of bad decisions because that's the nature of the beast. Cardinals win consistently, right? As much as anyone in baseball. It's been a while since they won it all, and I get the frustration. But to act like they have no clue and everything's about saving, a nickel or a dime, I don't agree with that. I think they're smart with their money.
A little bit.
They're smart with their money.
But it's not even the fact that they haven't won a World Series since 11 or got to a World Series since 13. I think you're starting to see you are seeing a lot of first-round exits, and you're seeing a lot of teams that you almost – don't you feel like you kind of know going in what the team is going to be? It's going to be a team that's really strong in the regular season, going to most likely win the Central, which, let's be real, the last several years has not been a good division at all.
Yep.
In some years, you're literally competing against one team that's trying. And I'd make the case that Milwaukee was half trying because they were still selling off assets for financial reasons at the trade deadline last year. These Cardinals teams that beat up on the Central, I never feel great about their prospects the last couple of years going into the playoffs that they're going to go on a run and play to the World Series.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Well, I think, once you get through the gauntlet that is like the Reds and the Pirates,
Yeah.
you're
They're
in a
good.
good position to have success.
The Phillies fired their manager, 2 months into the season, and they made it to the World Series. Like, I think we've become such a society craving for change and constant
Hope and
update
change.
and oh my gosh, one thing didn't work, so we need to have a fire sale and start over. Like it's in a lot of ways similar to how we behave online. And the reality is that if you run a business and you were to operate like most people want them to online, the business would be shut in 3 months because you can't sustain a business like that.
I have a question for the dais.
Yeah, what's up, man?
You?
How you doing? That's Seth. Yeah.
For Charlie. Do you think Nate's take on the Cardinals has been a lot friendlier since he became candidate Nate?
Jimmy. I was waiting for you to say that.
I don't think it's
I thought I was the
changed.
only one.
Listen,
Because it seems he's
think
really
right down the middle.
understanding
Now in the middle.
and really supportive.
Neutral Nate.
Where I wonder if it were 3 months ago,
Be throwing bombs.
if it would have been the same.
3 weeks
Charlie?
ago.
3 weeks.
Throwing bombs.
I think it's fair to say that everything about Nate, and I think, now me personally, I think this is a welcome change. I think everything about Nate the last 3 weeks, I don't know why. I don't know what created this seismic shift.
Candidacy.
But I just
is
think
important.
everything that Nate talks about is just a lot more reasonable.
I'll get at him.
Is that fair?
I'll get that demon out of you, boy.
But the Cardinals cannot spend, like the Phillies right now, their projected payroll is $242 million. Philly is a much bigger market. I'm being realistic.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not saying you have to spend $250.
Yeah.
But again, like if you want an ace, you got to pay for it.
Yeah. Dang
And
right.
by the way, they're paying Waino a lot.
A lot of money.
They're paying Waino, and I love Waino. Mm-hmm. Waino is a top 5 human.
Great musician.
You're paying Waino a lot. I know $10 million's deferred, but doesn't a Carlos Rodon look a lot better at the start of your rotation in a playoff series?
Going to make a lot of money off Waino this year.
I understand that. Sometimes I wonder if that's the main goal, is selling the bobbleheads.
Cut the rights holder's mic. The Cardinals should be never The Cardinals should never, capitalist, be outside of the top 10 in payroll. They draw way too many fans for that BS, Jim. You're relying on a dang 40-year-old to lead your rotation, not signing Quintana. Your best starter down the stretch on the cheap was inexcusable. I'm tired of it.
Well, to be honest
Jim,
with you,
Rights holder.
to be honest with you,
Got the rights
We got
holders.
2 rights holders now.
Charlie.
Unbelievable.
to be
That's a
honest
lot.
with you,
That's a lot.
I'm pretty sure that I criticized the Cardinals for not jumping on the Quintana signing early.
You did. You
Okay?
did, Jimmy.
That's a mistake.
But you
in
did
my
it in a
opinion.
very gentle
He
way.
did it in a Nate way.
Very
No, no.
gentle
He did it in a Nate
criticism.
way.
If you recall, and again, I'll rebuild this whole narrative.
Cut the right
but
holders,
I
Mike.
said they should have jumped on Quintana for 2 years. That's a no-brainer. Get that guy in the rotation. I think I said, I don't care if you think you have 7 starters. You're going to end up with 3 or 4 at some point. You need arms, and Quintana was arguably their best pitcher at the end of the season last year. I also said I understand prioritizing a catcher. I get it, but that would not have been my top priority. I think they needed another bat. Those were what I said early on, and I stand by that. I'm still a rights holder.
You are.
I still think overall the Cardinals are great, and you're great. And
We
Cardinal
love
fans are the
everything.
best, and I'm going to post a puppy pic.
The cat defends every suck-ass player on this awful team.
I didn't say
Wow.
that. I didn't say that.
Wow. Was that live?
I didn't say that. I see Nate's fine-tuning his rights holder propaganda. Preparation makes perfect little gobbles.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a tough
That's
reference right there.
That's hardcore.
That's the Nazi propaganda minister.
Yeah.
You don't ever
The
really want to
devil?
compare anything to Nazis.
The devil. Well, didn't they compare somebody yesterday in the text line compared Thomas Grice?
Yeah, I think.
To Hitler.
Listen, I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. I think if you speak in front of a microphone on a daily or a weekly basis, if you just try to not mention Hitler and Nazis, I just think your career has a better arc.
Well, how about you just don't compare people to him and stuff, because they don't agree with you. There's Hitler again.
Just get an ace.
Get
all
an
right?
ace, damn it.
You don't ask for that much. Like
all we
everybody
want.
knows, hey, 180 million. Nobody's asking you to spend 210.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with Quintana and the rotation.
Yeah, you would.
Sure.
Don't
Actually,
forget.
the road
That
dog-
actually is like an in-between move that's safer, and I think doesn't
You did
put
say
you
that.
because a lot of it's risk reward.
Yeah.
You get an ace, you spend a boatload of money. If he's an ace, it's great. If not, you're kind of hamstrung by that contract. You get Quintana for 2 years, you get a guy who's been right there as ace material, at least in the tail end of the season, and there's no risk involved with it.
And in all due respect, maybe they make some moves. But what's going to happen next offseason? Let's just paint the picture. Matz is here. Let's paint the picture that Michaelis got an extension. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Jordan Montgomery. Let's even say right now that they extend Jordan Montgomery. I feel like next offseason, because I don't think they're going to do much next offseason, I think we're going to be sold on we really like Palante and Liberatore and Woodford and Dak. I think that's what we're going to get next offseason when we have potentially 2 or 3 rotation spots to fill.
Listen, I asked Mo about this at some point during one of our conversations. He's like, "Oh, I'm not blind to the fact that we're going to have to rebuild our rotation at some point, and we have a plan on how to do that." So it's easy. I get what you're saying, and who knows? Palante might be a good starter. Maybe Zach Thompson. Maybe Jake.
Graceffo.
Maybe. But I don't think the Cardinals are like so naive that they're going to be like, "Oh, we're going to put 3 new guys into the rotation that are untested and tell you that it's going to be great."
Maybe 2. I don't think the Cardinals are naive, and I don't think the fans are naive either.
They're not.
They're not. I think the fans have a high expectation of this franchise, as they should. That's good pressure. The Cardinals should like the fact that they have that pressure, and it's not that much pressure, to be honest with you. But I think the Cardinal fan base is tired, and I agree with them, of a team that always feels like if we can just be good enough and roll the dice in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think that has been the mantra since the great run of 2011 to 2015. I think the mantra has been not on paper, let's be a top 5 team in baseball. Let's be a top 12,
Yeah.
top 10. We got a shot. We win the Central. We go in. We see what happens.
Then you get
and
TCU'd.
Usually what happens is you lose to the big dog.
Yeah.
And I'm empathetic.
Georgia.
And if you recall, I'm empathetic even as a rights holder to that point of view because, as I said, now we're at the point where you have Goldie and Arenado and you're saying, we're on the clock.
Yeah.
Man. Now's the time to make a move because these guys aren't going to be there forever. So I totally understand that.
And nobody is saying the Cardinals suck. Nobody's saying the Cardinals don't try to win.
Seth did, and he said Marmol sucks and choked and
okay,
blah, blah, blah.
But everybody realized that the Cardinals are probably just year to year the model franchise for winning and being competitive in baseball. Everybody gives them credit for that. Fans are just saying, can you please give us a playoff series win?
I get it. And when you talk about the model, to me it's about efficiency. The Cardinals are efficient in the way they go about it and the money they do spend. But like I said, I'm very attuned to the fact that time is you got really transformative players at third and first, and they ain't going to be there forever. I'd like to see them make the most of it.
Thomas Grice is from Germany, hence the Nazi reference. Yeah, no shite, dude. You don't just call somebody a Nazi because he's from Germany.
Unless they got umlauts.
God.
They got umlauts in the name.
Yeah, I know that, dude.
Do you want to hear
put a name down, too, so I can make fun of you. What?
You want to hear a clip from Mozeliak on the starting pitching depth after this season? This is courtesy of KSDK. I know a lot of people have had interviews with John Mozeliak. This is the audio, though, that we pulled an interview with Frank.
Go ahead.
The key really is where are the innings going to go, right? When you think about starting pitching. Right now, we do feel like we have 6 starters for 5 spots. If you add another starter to that, then you have 7. And then you also have some guys that are going to be competing for starting inning spots. Verhagen, possibly Palante, possibly Thompson. So I just want to be really careful in like how we think through this. I understand that when we're sitting here this time next year, we may only have 1 pitcher signed. But you might also have the emergence of Thompson. You might also have the emergence of McGreevy. You might also have Graceffo. So I think there's a little bit of maybe over speculation of what it's going to look like a year from now. But I agree, it never hurts to plan, and it never hurts to sort of think about what we might look like this time next year.
Verhagen.
And look, I'm a Mo fan, and I know people poke fun. Overall, he's very good at his job. If he's including Dak as your 6th starter, and I think he is, I don't think the fan base potentially loves that. And then also, like Verhagen, all due respect, and I hope Verhagen comes back and has a good year, but to mention him after the year he had last year, I mean, he was awful.
Yeah.
All due respect. And maybe he was just really banged up, and maybe he'll be good. But you're throwing a lot of ifs. I think Zach Thompson, he might be a really good lefty reliever out of the pen. Maybe he's a starter. But you're throwing McGreevy, you're throwing a lot of ifs. I mean, Palante was great. Maybe he's better as a reliever than a starter, but he was pretty dang good as a starter.
Pretty dang good.
But you're throwing a lot of ifs out there. And you're throwing a lot of ifs that have never really started in the big leagues beyond a couple games.
Well,
that's why when he says, we have 6, then you'd have 7. As I've said from, 2 months out, you can have 8 starters. I don't care. At some point, you're going to be down to 3.
Yeah.
That's why they should have signed Quintana.
All right. 8-12. Dang, boys. Let's go. Good job. Good talk. Way to go.
That was refreshing.
That was refreshing. He's excited about Friday.
Seth now says
He's
he wants to get
Friday.
a beat writer on from Fresno.
That's what you guys are going to do. Yeah. And then another one.
But we love that in St. Louis, right?
Hot stove.
Yes.
Hot stove,
It was
baby.
refreshing.
Yeah.
How about that?
Refreshing.
Was it refreshing?
Did you want me to bring up Trump or Pelosi during that?
Yeah, I kind of missed the soundboard drops a little bit.
The Washington Commanders. We'll do that tomorrow.
I love them. That's poor timing, Cam. I'm sorry.
I mean, I hit.
Can't wait till Friday.
I'm sitting there like, dang.
Just going to lay back and watch Seth work.
Break down
best
every
show
wild
ever.
card NFL playoff game
The best show ever. Right.
in great detail.
Like, whoa. I'm like, dang, I gotta figure some things out. My whole family is from Germany. I guess I'm a fascist a-hole too. Give me a break, dude. Sharon. Yeah, there's a guy yesterday. I think this dude was just trying to say that, hey, yeah. But the guy yesterday is like, no, he is. And they're like, why?
Because of Detlef Shrimp.
Because he showed me the S's on his Grice, the same kind of S that we have on the thing.
It was about liking a tweet back in the day.
Was it like,
That's what it was about.
Okay. Yeah, those they don't be liking no tweets. Okay, we're going to go to break. 8 o'clock hour sponsored by Mark's Appliance. Mark's Appliance, check them out at marksappliance.com. How do you like that,
Well,
Charlie?
yeah, baby. Edwardsville.
How do you like that, Charlie?
How you like them apples?
See, Jimmy tells me to do something, I do it. We have a meeting and we start doing it. That's what we do.
Yeah?
Well,
Did I miss
we
something?
usually do it for like 3 days, and then we forget.
There was one other thing I was
We
supposed
also
to do.
didn't do any. We didn't do any lives during our hour and 13 minutes.
Well, I kicked it. Wait a minute. It was 8:42, and I waved you down like this.
7:42.
I'm 7:42, and I'm like, Charlie, over here. I go, do a live.
I saw
Jimmy
it.
was. You saw it too.
Yeah.
Jimmy was breaking down.
I was
things.
riffing.
Nate was being normal. Nate, you guys were doing your thing. We're talking about Marmal choked, and I waved you down to do a live read, and you just go. I got
Marmal
something-
choked.
That's yeah. He started talking about other things.
Let me tell you something.
I think
tell him.
Cam choked.
Oh, really?
I was so passionate. I was so passionate in going after now 2 rights holders on this dais. I couldn't even focus on the live read. I had to attack the narrative.
I know.
Coming from Valley Sports 590 The Fan.
Nate, I agree with you. I agree with you, Jim. I agree with you, Nate.
Charlie speaks truth to power, and I respect that.
I'm the only person on this dais that will put a finger in John Mozeliak's chest
Get on Mo.
and say, we need you to spend at least
On his bow tie.
$7 million more on somebody like Michael Brantley that we'll all complain about midseason when he's batting 190.
But it ups the payroll and makes us happy.
Yes.
I'm a peon. I do what I'm told.
We're all going to say that Corey Dickerson was the worst signing ever until he starts hitting in the second half,
Yep.
and then we say bring him back.
Exactly.
And then he stopped hitting at the end again.
Yeah.
We're all going to say, Jason Hayward, don't bring this guy back when he's struggling for the first month or two, and then he has a good season, and then you want to sign him to
And
a
then he's
$200 million contract. Then he goes to the Cubs. He makes one speech. They win the World Series, but he doesn't really hit.
And this is
I
pathetic.
don't-
Respect you.